Hello and welcome back. Just about to start term 4. I've just been starting to think about turn 7 and beyond when the ground forces land, because one of the things you need to have really to avoid your units being out of supply is you need air superiority in at least 3 different sectors for each turn. And if I'm going to carry on attacking with my carriers, which takes out 3 Harriers, doesn't leave me many left. Now there's a headline event, at least one I can think of, which brings some Harriers into play from the Ascensions. So I really hope I get those within, I've got 4, 5, turn 4, 5, 6. I've got 3 turns there. Now, I'm probably thinking too far ahead at the moment, but that was one of my thoughts at the start of this turn. So anyway, let's get on with the game. And the first thing we do for turn 4 is we roll for the weather, and it's a 6, and we're still within turn 1 to 7, so we've got fair weather again. That's 3 turns out of 4. We've had fair weather so far. You can see the SAS marker there is not in play yet, or he's not in play again yet. And diplomacy, we are, you can't quite see there, but if we look at across there, the BBC media is at maximum, so we're well supported back in Britain still. The invasion plans, so nothing else to do there, so we move straight on to the group host phase, where we roll 2 dice to see which group hosts from the mainland come onto here. Now if we roll a 5 or a 2, there'll be nothing comes on. We don't want to roll a 4 because we can't attack any that come onto that due to the 25 de Mayo. I'm going to have to look up what 25 is in Spanish. We've got a 6 and a 2, which isn't too bad because we have 1 goes onto there, and as I just said, already got 2 units there, so we can't have any more than 2 air groups in one sector at once. So that's the group host phase done. We're now into the task force phase, and as I mentioned at the end of the last turn, I went with the Hermes rather than an escort going to the trawler box, so that it'll leave me with 3 extra Harriers this turn to use on the Falklands map. We'll soon see if that's a good idea or not. I'm not experienced enough in the game to know whether to or not, so what I think I will do, we can't attack these because of the Belgrano, so I'm going to go both of them here, which is these group hosts go to the target sector, which right at the moment is the same as that sector E. But the way I look at it is, as you're marching, your men, once you've landed, you need to go through air sector A, B, C. E is the last one you come to, so it's not the major problem early on. So if I look at that, I'd try and get these out. I can't touch those, so I'm going for these with the target sector, because once I land, the target sector becomes the sector with the most British ground units in, which will be here early on. So, I've got to stop saying so as well. I'm sure I'm saying that at the start of every sentence at the moment. Let's start with the escort, and we're going to roll 3 dice, and hopefully we're going to score 11 or more. I've got 10. Now this is the roll I didn't want when I went for the escort instead of the Hermes, because if the Hermes had been there now, see on the 10, Argentina Gruppo driven off by the British carrier. Ain't got a British carrier. If escort is firing, no effect on Gruppo or the BBC. Place the British. So that one goes into there. So just the result. I didn't remember. Well, dice rolls at the moment. So now we've got the invincible attack of 12. So we have got it there. You can see Gruppo retreats under British fire. So the Gruppo goes in the mainland. 1 plane goes into the repair box, and the British ship goes in the trailer box. News goes up by 1, but we're already on maximum news, so one grouper, doesn't matter which one. The Invincible goes into there. Daft thing is, if I'd have done the rolls the other way round and named the Invincible first and then gone with the Escort, I'd have taken 2 out there, but such is life. So, Day goes into the air. So, as we've stated, we need to get another 2 planes in there at least so that we can start discarding some. So, see, I'm saying so all the time. Must stop it. We need the target sector for the Argentine air assets phase. Well, target sector is staying as sector E. And we now deploy, and we need to roll 1 die to see where we deploy first. I think they'll all be deployed anyway, so it won't have any effect. But it's a 1. So, if you saw that one. So the 1 is here, we haven't got 1, so the next one is sector B. We're going to have... these should have been taken off, sorry. Let me just mix them up. So now we're putting 4. That is one thing I noticed I was doing all the time, forgetting to take those off. As I say, it doesn't affect, not affect gameplay, anything like that, but so we've got 4 in sector B. And we've actually got 6 in sector E because we've got those 2 there and this one going to the target sector. So we have got 6, so we're just going to pull 6 out for sector E. Now, this is looking good at the moment. Not gonna wait. Well, it might be. Let me explain my thoughts. Sorry you couldn't see those, I'm pulling them out. No planes there with roundels on. I've got 3 there. So that cannot be added to. Do. So these, the roundel ones, the options are it stays where it is, or it goes into sector E, or it goes to the target sector. So those roundels are going to be in there. I have to hope they don't move, to be honest, because I'm going to put all of these in here. Pointless with them being anywhere else. If I put them in there, I could be massively outnumbered. There's a chance some could move into here, but again, I could well be outnumbered for that. Because that one would move in. That one, so that would be 10, 21, 27, although I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, so I've got 49. 2 to 1, but then there's modifiers to take into account. And also these roundels could potentially end up going into there and then moving with them as well. So I'm going to stick with that. The hope is those planes stay as they are. So they've got a score of 20, 25. Just going to be under 2 to 1 there still. But okay. So now we jump to plan roll. So I think really, if they move, I'm going to be able to should be able to take that one out quite easily. Not enough to get me what I need. So I need to take a risk and hope. I need a 2 or a 3 for them to stay where they are here. I can't see that, so I'm rolling again. A 1. A 1 is the army plan. Galtieri, strategic influence, and seeks to protect his force around Stanley. All roundel planes on the East Falkland map move to sector E. All of them there. So, right, good job I didn't put any in sector E. So now we we roll for the Argentine reaction. It's a 6. Move all eligible planes to the target sector. Now, an eligible plane is either if you've got more than 2, if they've got more than 2 planes in an uncontested sector. Well, the only one that's uncontested is there, and they're already in the target sector. Or Donady Ace is on the East Falkland map. Well, he's in the repair pool at the moment, so nothing else happens. So all we've got is this one battle going on here. And I think I counted 7 of these. It would be, yeah, because I was putting 4 on before and then 3. So we've got 49. But the Argentine ground support, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bonuses. They can only get up to there. So they're on 9. And I'm on 49. Which gives me the maximum overall. It doesn't guarantee success, but it makes it fairly likely. But the best they can hope for really is a 1, which would mean they'd take out one of mine to the repair pool. Let's roll the dice. The 3 to 6 are going to be a 2. So the second best to go over. That is defender breaks off, pursuit. So defender breaks off. If you remember, the Argentine planes move to there, but I can pursue. So I'm going to move. I'm going to leave 1 there. Doesn't really matter. But as we're pursuing, we now battle again. Well, they've only got 1 there, so go there. So they're on 7. So for me to have the 400%, 4 times 28, it's 28 I would need. And I've got 6 there, so I've got 42. So again, we're in the 400%. The only way, when he doesn't get out of it, the only way he's going to have any success again is the 1. Because if the defender breaks off, he peels off out of the way. And 5. Defender eliminated. So he's gone. So we've got him. Yeah, if they do have to, looking at the rules for this, if they retreat and they can't retreat any further, so if there's no refuge sector box, i.e. it can't retreat past that, then the retreating plane is eliminated, so it would have gone anyway. So really, exchange was the only thing where I had a slight option there. So that's the end of that phase. The British have air superiority in A and B. Argentinians in A. Ground war phase, skip. Straight on to the logistics or invasion phase. No victory. No landing yet. So now we go to reset. Any British stack which is currently out of supply, we haven't got any stacks on the ground. Any groupos flipped? No. Any units in the trailer box now move back to the TEZ box. All British ships and planes in sea zones and at St Carlos also move to the TEZ box at this time. So there, sea zones. Nothing in the San Carlos. That's when you have your escorts in there, the San Carlos box. 2 warships are on the map. Serial import. Roll 1 die for each ship and move it to the resulting sea zone. 5 and a 1. So we move. I'll just turn that slightly. Carrier's going there, and the Belgrano goes up there. Where there's no groups, so we've got some groups we can attack. Hopefully next turn. But we're a bit away from that yet. Things may happen. Argentine parts shortage. This is disappointing me. There aren't more than 3 Argentine planes in the repair pool, so we can't get rid of any. because it's fair weather, all planes can go back to the pool. Well, we haven't got any in the repair pool, but they've got these 3, so they're back. So we're not having any luck taking out these planes at the moment. Now, this plane's done. No diplomatic political markers on. The news headline, turn. So we've got a 1. So we've scored 5 again. So for the 3rd turn in a row, it's going to be the same headlines. Not worked out too well for us so far. Black Book Air Raid. So media, the news media hasn't really changed, which is good. So we need a 5 or a 6 to retreat one of the Blue Star Stanley garrisons. So this won't affect the media because it can't do, but we need a 5 or a 6, which would be very good. And it's a 5, which is great. So if I can, you can just see in the corner there, we've got 2 left in the Stanley box. So the top one on a roll of 1 to 3, that will go into the broken morale box here. 4 to 6, it'll be the one underneath. The one underneath is the higher scoring one, so I want the second one. I want 4 to 6, although either is good, and it's a 1. So we've now got 2 in the broken morale box currently, which is fantastic. Shady arms dealers. So let's roll to see which of these, which of Britain's enemies is going to have a go at us here. And it's a 1. And it's the Brazilian leader. I can't even pronounce it. Shall I just say the Brazilian premier? Smuggles arms from communist Cuba to fascist Argentina in a ludicrous inversion of Cold War principles. British player chooses 2 sea zones and immediately places 1 grouper from the mainland box in each one. Yeah, if enough are available. Well, so I've got to choose 2. There is 2 that I can put in easily. I'm going to put 1 in sector. It's Rio Grande, because that means if I do roll a 6, you can't have any more in now. I don't want to put this one in here because I can't attack them, so I'll put him in D, just because it's further along on the air sector side. So that wasn't good. We've now got Argentine surface action. Yet again, British ships are diverted to deal with spy ships. 1 British escort ship must go into this box. That's the 3rd time in a row that's happened. And then we've got the BBC leaks the MOD one again. So what we don't want is a 6, because what's happened for the last 2 turns is we've lost another ship. Only on a 6, which I've said for the last 2 turns, and then roll the 6. Please do not, because I want to try and get rid of some of these group O's. 2, so that's alright. So that event doesn't happen. News media stayed at 19 this turn, haven't moved at all. So again, it's not a disaster. I like what's happening with these, getting those pushed back, but don't like the way these are building, and I don't seem able to get rid of them. So the last thing to do is just to clean up where these units go back in here, and these units go back upside down in the cup. Okay, so let's go straight on to turn number 5 and roll for the weather. A 5. Yet again, we've got fair weather. No SAS, we're starting to get closer to it. No need to do anything with diplomacy. So we've got the group house phase. I've actually got 3 numbers here. If we roll a 2, 5 or I'm pointing at that way, you can't see it. 2, 5 or a 6, where no group house will go out. So hopefully we can get a 4 and a 6. So the 6 can't add to that because we've already got the maximum of 2 there, but the 4 we can. So it's now onto the task force phase. I know last time I didn't put as many, I only used 1 carrier. I'm going to use them both this time. And I'm going to send them both into, the Invincible needs 3 carriers there, and I'm going to send the Hermes in there as well. The reason I'm just checking those is I don't want to get any of the named ones by mistake. Yeah, that's because as you've seen, they can be useful on this board. And then we'll try the escort here as well. So 3 dice, and we're going to do the Invincible first. That's a 9, which I believe is no contact. Yes, no contact. Place British shot in the trailer box. No other effect. No good there. And Hermes. What we want here is more than a 9. What we really don't, which I've not touched on, is we don't want 5 or less, because that is a British ship sunk, and that is a nightmare. 7. We've not had this one before. British escort damaged by bomb hit. Reduce BBC News by -6. Place British ship in trailer box, even if it's a carrier. That almost sounds a bit contradictory, but it's not talking about the escort markers. All of your carriers had a screen of ships which aren't covered by markers in the game. So when it's saying the escort is damaged, it's not that escort, and it's not that escort, it's one of the Hermes escorts which aren't put on there. But as a result of that, they have to go to the trailer box, and the news drops quite significantly. It's still not an issue, but we're on 19, so it drops down to 13. So it's not the end of the world, but it's quite a drop. So last chance is with the escort. See if we can do some damage at least this turn. I'm going to read throw because I've not seen what that one is. Should maybe just do 8. So it's a no contact. So we've had no luck whatsoever in that one, and the group O's are starting to really build up here now. We've got 8 of them on the board. It's becoming a problem. Air assets. So target sector is still E, as you can see there. And we now roll 1 die to see where we place the planes first. And we're going to be very outgunned here. It's a 5. So it is. 5 is sector E. We've got 4 going in there, but another 4 to go to the targets, which we're saying. So we've got 8 planes going in air sector E. So no prizes for guessing correctly that I will not be going to sector E with my planes this turn. It may leave me a chance somewhere else, so we'll see how we go. 6, 7, 8. So yes, not an area that I want to go to there, so you can't see that. So we've done those. The next one is here. So they're going into sector B. So we're going to have another 4 in B. And in finally in sector D, because the 2 group was there, there's 4, but as you can see, there's only 3 left in the pot. So only 3 go into there. Right, so what do I fancy? I don't fancy sector E, ignore that. One thing about this ace unit as well, I don't think I've talked about, is that my aces, if I want them to move, if I put them in here, they can't move out of it. If they're there, they can't move through it, and they can't move into it. So I need to avoid, well, they can't do anything around there. If I put them in there, they'd have to stay there. I don't know if I've missed that in the first few turns. I don't think I haven't. I don't think that's happened, but air sector D is looking fairly tempting. We've got 4 Harriers, so we've got score 28. D would have 17. Well, these potentially, these rounder ones could move out as well, so 4 could move out, which you've got 4 though, so that would be, I'm going to put them all in here, sector D. So we now roll for the roundel planes, the junta plan roll, to see if the roundel planes move anywhere. We've got a 4, Air Force Plan A. All roundel planes on East Falkland move to Air Sector A, for the British Ground Force on the East Falkland map. Now this helps us because, let's move the ones that do. That one moves, and that one moves. Then on Sector E, these 2 move. And we're not having to worry about air superiority at the moment for the ground forces, but you've also got one with the roundel there, so that one moves out. So that makes it better odds for us. And then we have the Argentine reaction. And it's a 4. Argentine reaction 4 is move all eligible planes to sector A. So that is any, I'm just going to go through it even though it doesn't affect anything. If there's any uncontested sectors, you move the Argentine planes out, but leave the weakest 2 planes. So here, we've got 6 planes in it, and the weakest 2, there's one value 2 and one value 4, there's a few value 4, so we'll leave those in. The rest of them move to here. So it shows how you've got to think about this, because that looked, particularly when you're looking at air superiority when the ground force there, that would have looked like an easy sector. So you could have ended up just putting 1 Harrier in there for a value of 7, thinking, great, I'll take that, got my superiority. And then suddenly you've ended up with 9 planes in it. Okay, so this one is the only contested area. So let's first of all have a look at what Argentina ground support there is. We're in air sector D. There is only 1 ground force, so they do get a bonus, but only 3 points. Although that's just taken them above. They were on 13, this takes them up to 16. I'm on 28, so if they hadn't had the ground support, I'd have been at 200% on the table. Instead, I'm at 150, because 150 is, you've got 16 plus another 8, so 24. I've got more than that, so I've got 28. So we're going to roll 1 dice at 150%. So as the attacker, we are slightly the favourite, but the name is guaranteed, and it's a 6. And a 6 is just what we wanted. Defender eliminated. So these 2 planes go over here. We put them in the repair pool. but as you've already seen, they're not, unless we get something lucky with the headline, they're not going anywhere. They're going to go back into the norm again because we've got fair weather at the moment. So we've got Argentine superiority in A, in B, nobody in C. We've got superiority in D, and they've got it in A. It's still not going well. Ground war phase, skip. No landing. We do the reset. And all units in the trawler box go there, and planes in the C sectors go there. We now look at Admiral Anaya and the Argentine warships. Well, one die for each one. See if we can roll a double and get rid of them, get them back to the mainland for a turn. Yes, we have. 2 2s. I don't know if you saw that. And it was 2 and 2. That just turned over as I turned it. So these go back to the mainland from there. I am hoping you could see that was 2 2s when I first rolled that, and it did roll over as I pulled it back. I don't cheat on solitaire games. Well, I don't cheat on 2-player games either, obviously, but particularly don't cheat on my own. So that's good. Now we're going over to the repair pool. Argentine planes, we haven't got more than 3, and now we've only got 2. We've got no British planes in the repair pool. It's fair weather, so these 2 planes come out of the repair pool and go back into the cup, into the mainland cup. Now we're on to the news headlines. So we roll 1 die to add the score to the turn number. So we've got a 3. So finally, we're going to have some different headlines, which will be nice after 3 turns of the same list of them. So we have got an 8. Hopefully you can see there some of the headlines we're getting that we haven't had before. And Sidewinder, I believe, is the one I've been wanting. So let's move on to that. So the first one is Sidewinder. Ground-based Harriers are modified to carry US-built AIM-9L Sidewinder air-to-air missiles at sea. Roll the die and move that many face-up Harriers on Ascension Island there to the total exclusion zone, so long as their corresponding carrier, Hermes, Invincible or Iwo Jima, is not sunk. Well, Iwo Jima isn't on the map yet, and neither carrier is sunk, so let's roll the die, and the higher the better. 6 would be nice. Not great, but better than nothing. So I'm going to put 2 of the Invincibles onto here. So we've got an extra 2 that we can use on the East Falklands air zones now, which brings us up a little bit more to a fighting chance. We're not going to be quite so outnumbered. Now we've got the USS Iwo Jima. This can only happen once. US Defence Secretary Caspar Weinberger vows to replace a British carrier lost at sea. Place the Iwo Jima at Ascension Island. I don't know if you can you see that? Sorry, it looks a bit dark. So we're going to put that at Ascension Island. So it's on its way. If a British carrier has been sunk by Exocet, which it hasn't, and I hope it doesn't happen, place the Iwo Jima on the turn record track 5 turns later. It then arrives a reinforcement in the total exclusion zone and flies the dead carrier's surviving planes, which they're put face down at Ascension Island if the carrier is sunk. And if the Iwo Jima ever does arrive at Ascension, which it has done, add +5 to BBC News at once. Functions from that point on as a British non-British carrier. So it's basically, your Iwo Jima is a backup. If the worst happens and we lose one of these carriers, we've got a replacement, but in 5 terms' time. So you're without it for a lot. I would suggest, if you do lose one of those carriers, it's going to be very difficult to win the game from there. Although I'm finding it very difficult to win the game as it is. Not a lot of hope for this one at the moment. So, but the media is going up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, 2 good ones. Now we've got a collision, which I think we've had before. Roll 1 die. On a 6, remove 1 British Harrier from the game. Any other, you move the Harrier to the repair pool. So we just don't want a 6, and it's a 5. So that's okay. Well, it's not okay because I'd rather not have to do this, but that one is going in the repair pool. So we're 1 down for next turn because we've already done the repair pool part where they move out. So that one's stuck there, and we're missing next turn. So that's BBC leaks the MOD secrets. So we've got that yet again. So you probably know by now. On a 6, they exploit it, and we have to put a British ship in the trailer box. So we don't want a 6. And we haven't got one this turn, which is good. So that doesn't affect us. And then the final headline is Wets undermine Mrs Thatcher. Moderate elements in Cabinet challenge the PM on the Falklands policy. Subtract 3 from BBC News. So not a great one, but we're up here. So 1, 2, 3. It's not an absolute disaster. That's the headlines. We've got to get some different headlines. I do find they really add the flavour to the game, those headlines. It's the best bit of the game, I think. And then finally, British planes that are still out, we put them away, and the Argentine ones go back in the mainland cup. So we've got 3 British planes there, so they go in the exclusion zone. And we've got quite a number of Argentine planes. Where are we at? 37 minutes. So what I think I'll try and do is get 1 more turn in, and that means for the next video we're potentially starting the invasion. Say potentially because there's a number of things that can stop it, or you can choose to stop it, but there are events that make it so it doesn't happen as well. So turn 6, on we go with the weather. At turn 6 we've got a 6, and it's fair weather yet again. So the SAS will come into play next turn again, so we can use those to try and get rid of this Picari unit, but not yet. Grupos phase. We're going to roll 2 dice. We've got a lot on the board, so I really want 2, 4, 5 or 6. You don't want a 1 or a 3 on either dice for this one. And we've got a 3. So a 3, that one goes on. The 4, the can't go into there because I've already got 2 there. It's turned into a real nightmare, this, for the planes. So now we need to try and take out as many as we possibly can. What I'm going to do is send the Invincible with the 3 Harriers to there. Do I send the Hermes into the same place? Yes, I do. And I'm also going to try and, so we can just angle that across slightly and see what I'm doing. Yeah. Yes, so we'll start with the carriers. Three dice. 10, 12. So it's a good start with the Invincible. I don't think I stated which I was using, but it doesn't really matter because they're the same for all intents and purposes. So we've got a 12. Group O retreats under British AA fire. Group O in the mainland. One random Argentine plane in the repair pool. British ship in the trailer box, and the BBC News goes up by 1. So get rid of that Group O. The Invincible goes there. I'll not move the News, as you can see right in the bottom corner there, moves to 16. And take out, what's that one? Not bad. Now we're going to go with the Hermes, so another carrier. Oh. Now I just thought that wasn't good. Now we're talking disaster time. So. If Argentina has fewer than 2 exocets, treat the result as no contact. Well, they haven't because they've got 4 exocets there. British ship sunk by exocet. I can't believe I was talking about this 10 minutes ago and now it's happened. So we reduced the BBC News by 10 because it's an absolute disaster. The Hermes has been sunk. So we go down to 6 on the BBC News. Reduce exocet total by 1, which is good, but place British ship in trawler box unless it's non-escorted carrier. Well, it is. Now that's interesting. If I'd put an escort with it, let me read it. It's 6.5. I'm just going to check them. A British carrier can only be sunk by an exocet hit. This can only happen if the only British ship in the sea zone is a carrier. If there's an escort in the sea zone, then some smaller vessel takes the exocet hit instead. So if I'd have split this, this would not be happening. So it gets worse. So if on a roll of 3 to 5, which it is, that's what we've got, the British ship sunk by exocet is a carrier, discard the carrier, so the Hermes is out of the game, literally. And reduce BBC to 0. So not even to 1, it's to 0. Next, all British planes attached to that carrier are removed from the game for the time being. Half of the planes rounded down are permanently discarded. What we've got here, what have we got? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So half of them discarded, so it's 4 of them permanently discarded. It says you can't discard the named one permanently. Well, you don't. So it's half of them, so we're left with 4. The remainder are placed at Ascension Island face down. Those face down Harriers will be inherited by the USS Iwo Jima when she enters service. It says if or when. Well, she's in service. So I've got 4. This is an absolute disaster, as you can imagine. I think I've made a mistake as well, because I think that... Am I right in saying that shouldn't... Oh no, that was from the last turn, sorry. So the Iwo Jima now, let me just check what happens to that one. It has to go on the turn track. Place the Iwo Jima on the turn record track 5 turns after. So we've got the Iwo Jima. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to come into play on turn 11. Until then, yeah. not good, he said in an understatement. Let's carry on with these escorts and see where we get with this. So, first escort, 13. So that one is good. Place group in the mainland, move one plane to the repair pool, place the British ship in the trailer box and raise news by 1, so British news goes up to 1. That group out goes there, one of the escorts goes there, and one of these surroundal unit goes in the repair box. And finally, onto the final escort. Let me roll again. I'm going to roll all 3 because I did that last time. When I think it was 11, 12, 13. And we've got the same result again. So at least we've got rid of 2 group O's there. You can probably tell the dejection in my voice at the moment by how things are turning out. And I'm kicking myself that I've not read the rule that I could have put an escort with each of those, which would have made a big difference. But it's a learning experience for all. Now we go on to the air phase over the Falklands. Target sector. Target air sector is there, A still. And we're going to roll 1 die to see which group we start with. It's a 5, which is target sector E. So now we've got two group O's there. So we're going to have 4 planes going into air sector E. So I'll put these there so you can see I'm not picking them out. Well, I am picking them out, but I'm picking them out anonymously. So I've done the DAs there. Next ones are in 2 planes in sector B. And then 2 planes in sector C. And 2 planes in sector D. Now, where do I put mine out? I've only got 2 planes here now. So score 14. Now, you've probably got the hang of it now with the junta phase and the Argentine reaction. They will not move into these areas, so they're not going to be reinforced. Although sector C, although it looks tempting because there's the lowest score of 6, you've got 2 army units, so they're also going to get a +5 to bring them up to 11. That one's a 10, 1 unit to bring it up to 13. This one's a 13. Tons of units, so we don't want to be in there, so it's going to have to be sector C. We need to try and start taking some out. I need to get some lucky dice roll. Now, none of these are roundels actually, so these aren't going to move, and there's only 2. So again, I'll do the 2 phases. Not really going to affect anything. So the junta plan roll is a 5, and that is Air Force Plan T. All roundel planes in East Falkland move to the target air sector. The only roundel planes are those in the air sector already. So, and the Argentine reaction is a 3, which is Putas Ingleses. Move all eligible planes to sector A, which is here. And again, we'll get in the habit. There's 4 planes over there. You leave the 2 weakest ones, because that's uncontested. These are uncontested, but you've got to leave the 2 weakest, which is those 2 on each. These 2 would move into A. And now we are going to battle and hopefully have some luck. So there's 2 there. So that goes up by 2. So they're on 11, we're on 14. So basically we're rolling at 100%. I know we're above 100%, but we're not up to 150. So that's what we're looking at. We want a 6. We really do, because if the defender breaks off, I'm going to have a lot of chance of pursuing it because I'll be outgunned. And it's not a 6, it's a 2. What is a 2? A 2 at 100% is the attacker breaks off. So I then drop into this one because the British go towards Stanley, the Argentinians go that way. And they can try and pursue me if they, well, not if they want to, if it fulfills certain ones. Which I know they won't, because you've got to leave the 2 weakest for a start in the original back sector, where there only is 2. But also you only do it if it means that the Argentine planes would outnumber British planes in the new box by 200% or more. Well, it wouldn't. So I've got 14 there. So I've got another go at this, because we reset this, we're in a new battle now, and there's only 1 unit there, so that moves up by 1. 10 plus 3, 13, and I've got 14, so I'm still at 100%, so it's the same roll again. Sorry, I was going to do that. Let me roll again, 100%, and we get a 3. Now a 3 is the attacker breaks off, which means these break off again. So we've got another battle. No pursuit. It wouldn't have happened anyway, but there is no pursuit because there's no P after it. So let's check for ground support. There's I don't think the broken morale, it's not going to make a lot of difference here. Let me just check this. Doesn't specifically mention this. The Argentines receive +1 level of ground support for each Argentine ground unit, including flipped or hidden armies, in the air sector, including Stanley for Sector E. Well, technically, I would say those two, if they've got broken morale, they're not in Stanley anymore. So I would discount them. As I say, it doesn't make any difference, and you see, because we've got 8, a score of 8 there, we've got 14, we've got a score of 8. That brings it up to 11, but then if we'd had 5, they'd go up to 13, so it doesn't make any difference. We're still at 100%, whichever one I go for. But I would say, if you're in the broken morale box, you're not going to be contributing. So again, we're at 100%. Now, if we do lose this and have to break off, we go out of there, we get discarded into the repair pool because we can't go any further. So this is last chance saloon. And it's a 2. So what we've got 100% attacker breaks off pursuit. Well, so these 2 go into here. And that is the end of the air superiority. It's the first time I said the Argentinians have got air superiority in all 5 sectors. This is rapidly becoming a game of how not to play, or how to learn to roll dice, a lot of it as well, because I haven't had the best dice rolls. So on to logistics phase. First of all, reset any British stack, any units in the trailer box. So we've now only got 3 planes. These come back as well. And the Argentine warships, they're not even involved at the minute, but they could well be coming out here when we roll this. Double 6, brilliant. They stay on the mainland, so we've had a bit of luck with that again. Argentine pound. If there are currently more than 3 Argentine planes in the repair pool, only 2. We've got 3 British ones. So we're not really use this much, and I'll just go through it again, but the British crew advantage means the player may move any one British plane from the repair pool to the total exclusion zone. So that one would move back regardless. Now, because it's fair weather, as you'll gather by now, the other 2 come back as well into the exclusion zone. And the 2 Argentinians in the repair pool come back onto here. And now we're on to the headlines. Well, you really do need some good news. So it's a 3. Now this is the same as last time. Now this could help because it worked quite well last time. First one is the sidewinders. So if you remember, this means we roll the dice and we've got 3 Harriers we can call on there. So as long as it's 3, 4, 5 or 6, we can bring those Harriers into the game, which we desperately need. And it's a 4. So we've got another 3 coming on board there, which is good. Next one is the USS Iwo Jima. Well, that can only happen once, that headline. It's happened. We're waiting for it to come over to us on turn 11. It's on its way over, which again will give us some more air power, which we desperately need. Then we've got the collision headline, which on a 6, we remove 1 Harrier permanently. On anything else, it just goes to the repair. So, just to the repair. Pull, that's out of next turns. BBC leaks the MOD secrets, so if we roll a 6, one of the ships will go to the trawler box. And wouldn't you know it, we have. Because that's the way the dice roll today. And the final one is Wets undermine Mrs. Thatcher. Subtract -3 from BBC News. Well, we actually can't subtract it. We've gone from being high up all the time to being at absolute, literally absolute 0 on the media. And that is the end of turn 6. We're going to turn 7 in the next playthrough, which I'll just mention. I mean, this is when we can invade, but I'll just check one of the stipulations. I can find it. It's to do with having to have 2 escorts in the San Carlos landing box, and we have only got 1 escort available next turn, which would then mean yeah. Yeah. The landing may only be conducted if there are 2 British escorts at San Carlos. So we won't be landing next turn, which might be a good thing because it gives us a chance to try and have a bit of success. We've got the SAS into play this turn as well, so we can try and take out that Picari unit. But we will see. Thank you for listening. And we will be back soon to carry on with what is becoming a nightmare for the British at the moment. Thank you.